All right, so today we're going to be detectives. We're going to solve a pretty fun little mystery that involves two slices of potato. And I promise, by the end of this, you'll understand a super important science concept that's actually happening inside your body right now. So, here's our mystery. We took one slice of potato and put it in plain water. We took another slice and put it in salt water. And after a little while, something weird happened. One got all firm and stiff, and the other one, well, it got totally soggy and floppy. So what's the deal? Okay, just look at the evidence here. The potato in the plain water looks pretty good, right? It's firm, maybe even a little bigger than before. But the one from the salt water? Yikes. It's bendy, it's shriveled up, it even looks a little brown. The single answer to this whole puzzle is one word: osmosis. To crack this case, we've got to understand our main clue, and that's osmosis. Now, it might sound like a complicated science word, but it's actually not that bad once you see what it's all about. So let's break it down. Osmosis is just about how water moves in and out of cells. Think of every cell having a kind of gatekeeper, and osmosis is the special rule just for water. And here's the really cool part. The cell doesn't use any energy for this. It just happens, all by itself. Now, for osmosis to work, you need two key things. The first one is called a solute. A solute is just the stuff that dissolves in a liquid. So in our experiment, the salt was the solute. When you stir sugar into coffee, this sugar is the solute. Simple, right? And the second thing you need is a solvent. That's the liquid that does all the dissolving. For our potato mystery, and for pretty much all living things on Earth, the solvent is just plain old water. And when you mix a solvent with a solute, you get what we call a solution. So here is the most important rule to remember. Osmosis is a balancing act. Water will always move from an area that has less stuff in it to an area that has more stuff in it. It's basically trying to even things out on both sides. Okay, so because of this balancing act, a cell can find itself in one of three different situations, or environments. Let's take a quick look at what they are. Now, these names might seem a little tricky, but the idea is easy. If the amount of stuff is the same inside and outside the cell, it's called isotonic. If there's less stuff outside, water rushes in, that's hypotonic. And if there's more stuff outside, water rushes out, that's hypertonic. But here's where it gets really interesting. There's a twist in our story. Plant cells and animal cells react completely differently to these environments. And it's all because of one huge difference between them. Animal cells, like the ones that make up you and me, they're happiest when everything is balanced. That's an isotonic solution. But plant cells, they actually love it when they're in a hypotonic solution, where tons of water comes rushing in. And that might sound kind of weird, but there's a really good reason for it. And that reason is the plant cell's super strong and rigid cell wall. Animal cells just don't have one. This single difference changes absolutely everything. So what happens when they end up in the wrong environment? Well, in that hypotonic solution with lots of water rushing in, an animal cell swells up like a water balloon, and then pop. It literally bursts because it can't handle the pressure. But a plant cell, its strong wall pushes back. It gets super full and firm, the science word for this is turgid, and that's exactly what helps a plant stand up straight. But in a hypertonic solution, well, that's bad news for everyone. Water rushes out of the cell. Both animal and plant cells lose water, shrink, and shrivel up. And for a plant, this is what we actually see when it starts to wilt. Okay, we now have all the clues. We know about osmosis, we know the three types of solutions, and we know the big difference between plant and animal cells. Let's go back to our potatoes and solve this thing once and for all. First, let's look at that soggy potato. The salt water it was swimming in was a hypertonic solution. That just means there was way more salt outside the potato's cells than inside them. So what did the water do? It followed the rule of osmosis. It rushed out of the potato cells to try and balance out all that salt in the water. All that water leaving caused the cells to lose pressure and shrink. And that's exactly why the whole potato slice became weak, bendy, and shriveled up. Okay, now for the firm potato. The plain water it was in was a hypotonic solution. This means there was less stuff dissolved in the water outside the potato compared to the inside of its cells. So this time, water rushed into the potato cells, filling them up like tiny water balloons. But since potato cells are plant cells, they have those strong walls, right? So they didn't burst. Instead, they just got packed with water, becoming really firm and strong. And just like that, mystery solved. Now, this is way more than just a neat potato trick. Osmosis is happening constantly in every living thing on the planet. And without it, well, life just wouldn't be possible. Think about it. Osmosis is how plants pull water up from the soil to their leaves to make food. It's the pressure from osmosis that allows plants to stand up tall instead of just being a floppy mess on the ground. And it's what keeps the billions of cells in your own body in perfect balance so they don't shrink or burst. It's a non-stop, life-saving balancing act. So in the end, osmosis is this incredible, quiet process that's always working in the background to keep things alive. It's the secret behind why watering a droopy plant makes it stand tall again, and it's why one of our potatoes got firm and the other got soggy. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the most important processes in life are the ones we can't even see.